Welcome to the Northern Powerhouse interview series, where we're unashamedly spreading good news by interviewing Northern businesses and their successes during the pandemic. Subscribe to be notified of new interviews or click the link in the description to take part if you'd like to be interviewed yourself in a future episode.
So myself and Calum, teammates once upon a time, back in the good old days when we used to run around in shorts for a living. Yorkshire Carnegie, now back to being Leeds Tykes. But nowadays, Calum found working in Irvine Garden Services, based out of Baildon, and he's kindly agreed to come along tonight and have a chat, talk about business, things he's learned, things he's brought over from sport, and just generally how he's getting on in life. So over to you, Cal. Anything I've missed there? Anything misrepresented in any way? We're doing all right?
Overrepresented.
Overrepresented.
That's pretty much it. Yeah, covering all garden aspects of my gardening company, I guess, from Baildon through to sort of Harrogate area, and that's from rugby really where we first met, is where it all started. So yeah, it feels like it's a long road, but it's only 2.5 years or so.
It's long and hard at times, isn't it? I know. No, I remember the night you came along and we were all like, right, who's this guy? Let's see what he's got. Come up, because you were at Harrogate at the time, I think.
I'd just come from Hull Ionians, yeah.
There you go. So you came along, and I remember you got benched on, and we're right, let's see what he's got. You caught the ball in front of a line. You looked like you passed the ball, and suddenly you were behind the line, running in under the post. I think it was Nottingham we were playing. It was like, where the hell did that sidestep come from? I've never seen anything like it. It was incredible. As a man who's never thrown a sidestep in his life intentionally, I was very jealous.
Wound it up quite a bit. That if anyone had seen me play at Harrogate, I'm sure they would have read that. But
well, maybe. But
it worked. It worked.
That's what it's about, mate. Doesn't matter how you get there, does it?
Exactly.
It's all good stuff.
That's it. Good.
So yeah, I mean, we could sit and talk rugby all evening, but and I do, frankly, every single person I talk to, I used to be a professional rugby player. That card gets used a lot, mate. That card gets used a lot. But I mean, a lot of it's relevant because we're in, my job now obviously is part of a business coaching firm, Action Coach, obviously where this interview is going to be going out. And coaching's coaching. It doesn't matter, as I see it, it doesn't matter whether it's rugby or business. Coaching, to me, it's the same discipline. It's about getting the best out of people. That's how I see it. I mean, what would you, if you had to define coaching, what would you say it was?
Good question. I think getting the best out of somebody is probably a pretty good way of defining it. I think sport and business are very similar. Fortunately, we've both been in those environments to kind of link the two, and we've had probably a lot of coaches which we've even it's probably speaking to people is probably the biggest thing, and how to speak to people, and not that you get it straight away going from sport to business, but if you get a coach who's constantly shouting at you and you're just not reacting, and you're not switched on by it, and you're just thinking, well, who's this idiot that's shouting at me? I'm not going to listen to you because you're just being rude. More to and then there's other coaches who say, right, we'll ask you the question. They get you involved, they get you engaged in whatever it is you're doing, and for me, they're the coaches which are more, well, have got the best out of me, let's say. So I kind of try to take a little bit of that, I think, into my business, in the way that I'm maybe teaching somebody how to do something, or maybe a skill. But it's something which, to be fair, over the past, during lockdown really, I've kind of thought about quite a lot, is that not every not every sort of way of doing, not every outcome goes in that same way as I've sort of learnt myself, if that makes sense. So like, cutting grass is a good example. Like for me, through the summer, we do that every day. Like we do 12, 15 gardens a day sometimes. And I always do it a certain way all the time. I know when I get to a garden, this is what I do. And then when somebody else comes on and you take on some staff and then they get hold of, a lawnmower and they do it slightly different, it kind of messes with your head a little bit. It's not necessarily right or wrong, because there isn't really a right or wrong, because the garden looks great in the end. However, it took me a while to get round, just everything, different ways of doing things, to get to the same outcome, because it wasn't what I was used to. Maybe that's a bit of me just being a bit anal, I guess, with my ways and saying that my way's right and your way's wrong. But then I don't know. But yeah, I mean, going back to sort of what you said, I think a coach is sort of somebody that can bring the best out in somebody by understanding a person, where they've come from, be there for them as a friend, as well as just teaching them how to potentially do something. But yeah, I mean, it's quite a broad.
Very open question.
It's very, very open. But yeah, so that'd be for me.
No, and I think so Jem's there, and it's I know some of the worst coaches I've ever had have been the ones that have said, "This is the way you do this, because this is the way I did this, and anything else that varies from that is wrong."
Yeah.
It doesn't matter the situation you're in. It doesn't matter if you're not built the same as me. It doesn't matter what's going on. You will, from in my experience, you will scrummage like this because that is the way I've decided everyone will scrummage. And as you say, sometimes it's like, well, no, hang on, what gets the result we're after? So now I see it that way. And as I say, there's I've spent a year doing this now, sort of speaking to business owners, and I see there's huge amounts of things that you can transfer from one to another. And so coaching is just one of them. The mindset, the sort of stuff we do day in, day out is kind of something else we bring along. And it's, I look at these questions that we normally ask people in these situations, and it's sort of, how have you adapted to things? I think adaptation is something that's massive in sport as well, because you go in with a game plan and you find out that the opposition have picked someone different in that position, and suddenly instead of having a right-footed fly half that likes to bomb from deep, you got a left-footed one that likes to go to the line, show and go and run through. So there's no time to sit there and formulate a plan. You've just got to be in there moving and stuff. So there's a lot of this sort of, I imagine it's going to have a bit of a sporting feel. But I mean, looking back over the last 8 months, how's COVID affected you? What have you had to do to adapt in time? What's kind of been your experience, your story in it?
It's not something I've massively had to think about, and I guess that's quite a good thing in the sense that the workers, COVID sort of came in, what was it, end of March? I think lockdown was beginning of April, was it? Or
around there, yeah.
And I think garden maintenance had already, for me, that was like start of the busy time. It's like the start of that's the spring. That's where everything started growing. I think grass had already started growing through halfway through March. So we were maybe even a week, 2 weeks late in the starting the process compared to some other gardening companies around sort of Harrogate area. So when it sort of first came in and we all went to lockdown, there was two of us at the time, and I just said to him, look, we can't work together. It's not something where, I know that I've got to do some digging about the sort of rules and what you can and can't do, because at the end of the day, I'm not in a position where I can afford to put my lifeline and my business on the line to, I don't want to be pulled over and say, right, there's two of you in the van. You're not from the same household. That could have been a grey area, because also on the flip side was, if you can't work from home, then you can go to work. So it's kind of, how do you read it? There's some other good friends who are gardeners were still kind of working as normal. I just saw for about 3 to 4 weeks, I think it was. So about a month, I think I worked by myself. I just emailed all my clients and said, look, if nobody wants me around, obviously you're going to be around the house now. So if you want to do your own gardens, just let me know where you're at. If you still want to come and do your garden, let me know. If you don't, absolutely fine, totally understand. And I'd had enough work for 2 people for like a good sort of week or 2-week round. Yeah, so I kind of lost maybe 10 clients to start with, which kind of was a good thing almost, because it wasn't at the time, because I could then go back to one person dealing and managing with all the rest of my clients. So that was fine. And then I started picking more clients up. More people were going, actually, I'm at home, but I don't want to do my garden because I want to spend time doing something else, or with the family, or this, that, and the other. So I picked up more business, and it just got to a point where I then took on a friend of mine who needed some work at the time, and just sort of kept building and building from there. And now sort of got to a point where, you know, I got enough work for another person. So there was like, bloody hell, what do I do? You know, there's going to be 3 of us in a van, which, you know, is sat side by side. But at the same time, he needs work. He can't work from home. I need to work. And with all due respect to everything going on, and I know this is going online, but I don't want to let this hold back from where I want to go with business. So I've kind of got to say, look, this is what the crack is. I think we had an agreement with the 3 of us that if anyone had any symptoms or anything like that, it was a case of, you know, we shut down shop straight away, and we have the 2 weeks off. It was, and that was like very strict to start, you know, well, it still is, but it's, you know, to start with, that was very like well known that was the thing. We made sure there was all sorts of, you know, we got loads of disposable face masks and sanitizers and all sorts. And we started being really, really cautious with everything, touching gates, and that was like a big thing. That was probably the only thing really, was the touching gates through people's houses, because we do a lot of elderly clients as well, you know, and if they're pottering around the garden in the heights of summer where it's sunny, they're touching the gate and you've transmitted through, then obviously it's not a good thing. So we were really cautious to begin with what we're sort of doing. And then it's just kind of, it's almost just finding your feet with the new, it's just not letting, I guess, a slightly negative thing get on top of you. You just got to adapt with the times, I guess. And if that's what's happening, then all right, well, let's try this. And if that doesn't work, well, let's try this. And I guess that's what we've just kind of we've done. And there's now 3 of us going, you know, we're just flat out every day, which is great. Even though we've stopped all the grass cutting and everything like that, we're still finishing off with the garden tidying up, but we're now into all the landscaping for the winter. So fortunately for me, it's not really massively affected me, apart from, I guess, losing 10 clients in the first place, which I think I've only got 2 or 3 back. I didn't get all 10 back, but it's, you know, the rough or the smooth type thing. You know, some people find their own way and maybe get a different gardener, or they end up just doing it themselves, because like you say, a lot of people can work from home, so they have now a bit more time. So yeah, for me, it's been an interesting 8 months. I think the biggest thing for me has been that release away from work has been the difficult thing, because obviously everything stopped, and then you've got your weekends, and they're now just free. And it's like, it's a bit of a mind, I wanted to swear then, but like, it's a bit of a mind fuck, you know. It's like, you've gone from the age of 5 to 26 now, doing cricket every week, playing rugby every week. If you're not playing rugby, you're watching rugby. If you're not, you know, watching rugby, you're playing cricket. If you're not playing cricket, you're watching, you know. And it's just, and if you're not doing any of those, you're probably going on the golf course with your dad or something, you know. And you're getting through that, and it's been my life for, well, God knows, like 20 odd years, probably since I was literally born. And so the real shock was like, oh, well, rugby's come to a stop. Well, it's not a bad thing, because, you know, I got concussed 2 weeks into January, and I thought, oh, it might give me a little bit of time just to get back, and felt right for a few weeks. And then, so it gave me a little bit. But then when the realization was like, actually, the season might be cancelled now, and then the county stuff at the end of season wasn't going to go ahead. And I found myself working, you know, 21 days in a row. Like I was just working a weekend. I was going back to work, and I mean full Saturday, Sunday, you know, 8 to 5, because it's good weather, it's light, I can get extra work in, and I'm thinking this is great. I've got a bit more money in the bank, and what else would I be doing? Because I can't go out, can't go to the pub, can't go out for dinner with the missus or whatever, you know, and that's kind of been the biggest hit really, is the realization of how much you actually need your release of some sort, whether that be, you know, going on a piss up with your friends, going to play sport, just going for a dog walk, or just a walk, you know, just doing something to take your mind away from business. That's been the biggest sort of thing for me. That's definitely, it's a bit of a killer really, which it's something I've kind of struggled with, to be fair, recently, more than anything, is that it's obviously an 8-month period has gone. 7 months of it were not too bad. Then we get back, or 6 months weren't too bad, and then you get to training, and you're allowed to train again in your teams on Tuesdays or Tuesday, Thursdays or whatever. And then suddenly it goes, right, well, lockdown 2, and we're like, well, what's going to happen here? You know, season gets cancelled, and you're like, well, what am I doing now? I can't even walk around a golf course. I can't do anything. And, you know, it's even like your group messages are putting out in the group, and you struggle to find motivation to do them. And it's only 20 minutes of your life. It's not going to kill you. But then it's like, well, 20 minut for what? What am I doing that? What am I doing that workout for?
Yeah.
Why am I going to get fit? What, you know? So I'd really struggled with that sort of recently, I'd say. But yeah, it's on the plus side, you know, my business is still going. I know there's a lot of, I know it's a little bit of negativity, but you know, there's a lot of people which are in a lot of worse position, and it is really sad to see, because, you know, even like your little, I think there's 3 or 4 shops in the local areas here, which they're just gone. I think we went to Otley Farmers Market the other week. I think there must be 5 or 6 shops just in the little square who have shut down. And I just hope that was a plan of, right, we've done well, so we are going to shut, rather than we've had to shut because of COVID and we've run dry. Because you don't want it to happen to anybody, do you? You don't want anyone to
no. And you know, obviously in our game, our whole thing's been sort of getting around, helping as many people as we can, sort of putting the help in front of them. We're still doing free stuff to get in front of people, just to help them through. Because as you say, you know, if you go back to what you were saying about business, like you communicate with people early, and you know, found out what they wanted, and you did that, and just keeping going no matter what. I mean, those are 2 very strong messages. But I think, you know, I'm sitting here listening to you talking about, you know, how much you struggle with the lack of sport, and it's a massive hole in my thing as well. And I think everyone's got this kind of lockdown story, and that there's something that's suddenly amazing, like we're all at home. You know, I've got a 7-week-old daughter sat downstairs, and I'm working from home now, which is going to be the norm going forward, which means I'm around for that, and it's like, this is great. But same as you, like I first picked up a rugby ball at 6 years old. I'm 33 now.
Is that all?
Yeah. I love Calum. He's good. He's good stuff. So it's I mean, the longest injury I had put me out for 6 months. You know, and I think I had one that was dislocated the shoulder at one point, broken ankle at another. Those are the longest breaks I ever had. So this is the longest time I've ever not been on a rugby field. And mentally, it's horrendous. You know, like, 'cause it's like you say, it's not even just playing, it's training, being around the lads, doing that sort of thing. And I think, you know, for me, and I'm sure you'll agree, one of the biggest things of getting through this is finding something else that keeps you connected with people, like finding a way, because your work's going really well. Like you say, you've managed to, you know, minor adjustments, but you've ploughed on. Same with me, like, you know, spend a lot of time on Zoom. This is one of your best friends, but yeah, I mean, that is a mental struggle. And I think, you know, I mean, I think it's that communication and resilience that you found in your business. It's going, do you know what, there's people worse off, and not belittling your own issues that way, but just having that perspective, I think, really helps. And B, talking to people.
Yeah, massively. Yeah, I think, you know, I guess I'm off all social media now apart from my business, but you know, things like, you're kind of fortunate for things like social media and Zoom things like that at this time, because it means that you can talk to your mum and dad, or your family members that you miss, or your schoolmates, the quizzes that you used to do when we started the lockdown and stuff. I'm sure they're still going, and things like that. So I guess it's a fortunate time that we are in a position where at least we still can have a bit of contact with each other and see a bit of something different, other than just staring at 4 brick walls and not having a screen to talk to somebody over. So yeah, I guess, I mean, it's going to come to an end at some point, I hope. Hopefully it's sometime soon, but at the end of the day, you've got to control what you can control, and then let everything else be just something else, because you've just got to get on with what you can do yourself. We were supposed to get married in May, and that got cancelled. We then pushed it back to October, and then just as the restrictions kind of got released, we thought, there's talk of a second wind coming, let's just get married. So me and the missus, and we got 20 people there, because there was allowed 30 people in the wedding. So we actually got married and did that, which although we couldn't have a lot of people there that we sort of wanted there, it was actually quite nice, because it kept it quite small. It wasn't very personal, and at the same time, we've now got that. Well, we haven't got any stress that we had before, because we haven't got a wedding to plan. But I am sad.
My invite got lost in the post.
Sorry about that. Yeah.
No, that's fine. It's post service.
I'm acting like I've obviously planned a lot of stuff to do with this wedding, by the way.
We did.
You had nothing to do with it.
Yeah, no, it's fine. No, that's the best decision you've ever made. Do you want to plan that? Yeah, all right, I'll leave it to it.
You want to plan this? Sounds good.
Which one of those do you want? That one? We'll go with this one. Yeah, all right, nice one. See you later.
So I mean, so that was obviously a massive positive, or negative, depends on how you look at it. But yeah, it's been a good sort of break, I guess, because we had a couple of days off, went to the Lake District and stuff during lockdown, and managed to, or not during lockdown, sorry, but during the sort of
in the gap between the two.
Between, I don't really know what you'd call it, the semi-normal. So that was a bit of a break between, and then obviously back to work on the Monday. But it's been interesting. It's been difficult, but at the same time, you've almost got to worry about yourself and do everything that you can do as an individual to then help the bigger picture. But then at the same time, you can't worry too much about everything, all the explorations. You've just got to carry on with all the bits that you can control. And in my eyes, like I said, I can't play sport and stuff, so I'm going to work on my business and build my business. And for me, it was a case of I don't want to let the other things that have happened hold me back from where I want to go. I just want to adapt and be able to adapt. And fortunately, being outside in gardens, bank transfer is how people pay. It's if there is any checks or anything like that, they can leave it at the door. They can shut the door. We can go and collect it, and it's all safe. We don't come into contact with people. Do you know what I mean? It's if it was getting materials, I think it would have been difficult at the beginning. For people like landscape gardeners, or if I was doing more landscaping at the beginning of lockdown, it would have been difficult. But I think even builders merchants and things like that have all found their way, by the sounds of things, and speaking to everybody, they've all found their way and got orders in, and everybody seems to just adapted. So I guess it's the new normal, or the new. I guess it's just preparation at the end of the day, and adapting to the times.
No, I think that is the key. I think you look at the people who've made the best sort of success of all this are the people that have changed the quickest, sort of seeing the ground change, and rather than sort of worried and railed against it, gone, right, well, this is what I'm dealing with now, and moved on. It sounds like you did just that. And like you say, some of your client base went missing, which would have daunted a lot of people. You've just gone, right, I've still got some people, I can still do this, and just swiveled and got on with it, really. So I mean, that's a big takeaway for people. I think that's something a lot of people take, because we all know second spike's coming, it's on its way down, we're all going to get back out again. But then government assistance is going to end at some point. The whole landscape is going to change again. No one knows what's coming around the corner. So these lessons are as valuable now, I think, as they would have been back then, and will be going forward too. But talking about going forward, I mean, what's, assuming that we've got some sort of roadmap going forward, in that COVID's going to end, lockdown's going to end fairly soon, and then vaccines are coming in. So putting all that to one side, like, where's the business going? What's the future looking like for you, Cal?
Good question. I try not to. I used to sit here and think, right, if I want to get there, I need to do this, this, and this. And like, I still do a little bit now, in the sense of, you've obviously got to kind of plan a little bit. But I try to kind of not think about that too much, because then I overthink, or then I underthink about what I'm doing at the moment. Like, for me, the focus is this week and next week, and the run through to Christmas, because I know I've got jobs that I need to tick off. I know I've got stuff to organise between then. I know if I can get to there, then the rest I can organise, or I can organise all the rest sort of as we go. For me, I want to build a business where, I mean, we're sat here now, and this might change in 6 months' time, because the business might go off slightly this direction, and it's not a bad thing. But my sort of plan now is I want to be in a position where we're covering maintenance and landscaping in a garden. I've got somebody running that team, I've got somebody running that team, and I can effectively bring in the business, and do the networking bits, and then help at the hands-on when and where needed. And there's teams that underneath that are effectively more than capable of doing a good quality job by themselves effectively. So, and I've made that clear with the lads that sort of work. So effectively, there's a business opportunity there, I guess, if you'd call it that, for somebody that wants to come and work. And that's my drive, is that I just want to create time. I think time's the biggest thing, and you sort of don't get that by just working all the hands-on hours. I kind of thought you did, because time equals money, but then how much do you? I mean, it can go round in circles, but the biggest thing for me was, how much do you value your time, like, over lockdown? I'm sure a lot of people have looked at that, and time is unbelievably precious. I unfortunately lost my dad last year, which is just one of those things which we've now just got married. If we're starting a family and stuff, I'm like, time with my family is going to be incredibly important. It's time with the missus now is massively important. As much as we got on each other's backs, it is really important, and we do spend time with each other. But it's just creating the time, I guess, to do the things that you want to do, and to fully live, I guess, to fully sort of live your life. I don't think we're put on this earth to all work all the time, but to some people, doing the Monday to Friday 9 to 5, it works. To some people, it doesn't. And you just got to find your way of what you want to do. And for me, I want to create a successful business in something which I'm quite passionate about, or very passionate about, which is gardening, creating, effectively outdoor houses, because you want to be able to live in your house, like the weather that we've had, live in your garden, in the weather that we've had this, through lockdown. If people can be out in that weather and go, I'm outside, I'm with my friends, I'm having a barbecue in some outdoor amazing space, then happy days. So it's kind of, again, very broad, but that's kind of, that's in my head, but I know it's going to take a lot of work to get there. And, it's effectively, the sky's the limit as such, but we'll see what happens. I just sort of focus on the run into Christmas and go from there. Because if you sort of think too far ahead, then you can get a bit complacent with what you're doing now.
Yeah. No, it's perfect. As I say, like, one of the big things we do when we're ringing round, and obviously, we had the conversation, and it wasn't the right time for you to sort of join us in what we do at the minute. But I think a lot of our views align in that, time is the biggest thing. The whole mantra of Action Coach is a business that works without you. because that's the thing, like money you can get and money you can lose, but you can always find some more again somewhere. Teams grow, like you said yourself, you had a lad on, he went off, you're now back up to, there's 3 of you now, and sounds like there's plans to build more. It's like those things can fluctuate, but time's a one-shot thing, and if you spend all of it working, as you say, it's you lose the point of what things are. So it's a big, big thing, and I think we all agree on that. And a lot of people, as you say, were taking stock of that during this time because they've been sat at home when they wouldn't have been. They had the kids at home when they wouldn't have been, and hopefully the takeaway a lot of people take from this interview and from the the time that's gone by is that is the key to all this. Like that's spending that time with people that you care about is the number one thing, because as we've all experienced as well, I think that can be there's no telling when that's going to suddenly come to a halt, really. So enjoying the things while you can.
Yeah, definitely. And I think, during lockdown, you've seen that I've got a couple of mates who have just started businesses off the back of stuff. And they're now going like, well, actually, if I do this and this, I could end up just doing this full time. And I'm like, well, just go do it, because, and it's taking that small hit now. And then, like, one of the biggest things I always remember, which my dad said to me, was, if you're going to start a business, just do it while you're young, because as soon as you start, or just do it now, because as soon as you start, doing something and something else, you've also bought into something else, and you're gonna get more and more responsibility. So that it's the chances, if your business then goes wrong, or not goes wrong, but you lose out on something, well, you're only going to lose a small amount. If you went right down the line and then started a business, you've obviously got a little bit more to lose. So that's why I just jumped in at the time that I did. Obviously, that was way before COVID, but it's still, creating that time. Even a lot of my mates who have done it, or some of my mates that have done it, they've created that time during COVID, and they're now going off the back of COVID going, right, I'm actually going to work for myself full time now. And they've created that time to then effectively do what they want to do. So if they want to have a break, and that's fine. It doesn't matter. You're not tied into 28 days holiday or whatever you get.
Yeah.
I don't know the ins and outs, because my lads are self-employed. So
I still don't understand holiday, pal. It's a weird concept for me. Like, I was told when I was playing and when I wasn't, and all that, and now I've got to make decisions for myself. I don't like
holiday, it's like end of April to about beginning of June.
Well, yeah, it was the thing. It shifted back a month because everyone got more competitive. It used to be if you were full time, everyone got married in June, because that was the only time you knew you'd have off. So everyone had June off. So every single lad was getting married in that month. And then obviously, as I say, everyone got competitive because I think Sarri started coming back in. So then, well, if they're doing it, we need to do it. And it all just, But this is the thing, and even that, and this is a similar concept again. Like, you got to a point where your off season was so small that you didn't get any rest in it, and that affected you the rest of the year round. And it's the same in business. Like, you've got to take that time for yourself just to take stock at times and to work out where you are and where you want to go. And I think that's again something else that's been gifted to people recently. But as I say, if you take the major things I'd take from this conversation is sort of talk to people, talk to your team, talk to your clients, talk to anyone. Just, the moment you go quiet, it's the moment sort of things start to fall around, because you don't know what's going on, and people don't know what's going on with you. Find a way to make it work. Like you say, control what you can, do else, but just adapt, survive, just keep moving. And focus on time. I love that. Start young, start now. Don't wait. So obviously I had my first kid at 21, so I didn't wait around. But it's that sort of thing. It's like, just get going. Like, if you wait for the perfect time, it will never turn up. So just do it. Get on with it. So no, Cal. I mean, thank you for those.
It just say it's just honesty, because like, no matter whether it's with your, most importantly with yourself, but I'd probably say with the clients mostly, and the people that you're working with, because you'll soon get found out if you're not honest. Like, we do garden maintenance, and if we're not maintaining a garden on a certain day because let's say it's a bank holiday, then I'll just be honest and tell the client I'm not going to work on that bank holiday because I want a day off, or I'm doing something else, you know, or actually, yeah, I am going to work that bank holiday. However, in 3 months' time or a couple of months' time, I've booked a holiday, so I'm not going to be here for that visit or for that or whatever. And some people, if people don't react well from it, well, it's almost like, well, fine, you go do your thing, and I'll just continue with mine, because you'll only get 1 in 100 who won't understand where you're at. As long as you're honest with everybody, then then people will be absolutely fine. And then again, being honest with yourself, which probably I wasn't at first, but is, you know, holding yourself accountable for those little things that I need to do this, need to do this, need to do this. Well, I'm a bit tired, so I'm not going to do that. I'm not going to do that. Well, actually, if you want to get to that next step, what, you know, you want to do this, and this in your business, but you're not being honest with yourself and holding yourself accountable for these little things here, then they all add up to that big picture. You know, we always talk about in sport, those 1%ers, those 5%ers, 10%ers. If you're not doing those little things, you know, setting your alarm and getting up at the right time, getting yourself a good breakfast before you know, jump in the car and do whatever you need to do, or you're not prepping right for a game, or it goes into everything. You know, if you're not doing those little things to be the best version of you on that day, then you're just setting yourself up for not necessarily failure, but you're just setting yourself up for you know, almost your own excuses in your head. You're going to try to find a way out of it, but then you're just not being honest with yourself. Which again, probably during lockdown was a wake-up call for me, was the fact that it was like I was talking a great game, but I wasn't really backing it up, you know. And then I don't know how many people would probably say that honestly out loud, but yeah, I was like, yeah, I'm doing this, it's great, but then I wasn't really doing it. Whereas now I'm strict with when I get up. You know, I make a coffee in the morning. I put my bagels on and have a peanut butter on a bagel, and that's all first thing in the morning. If I need any paperwork doing and I'm working, if I'm not in an office day, then I'm, you know, doing my bits of paperwork in the morning before I go to work. Out the door at sort of 6:30, 7 o'clock, wherever I need to be for whatever time, and then I've got my evenings back with the missus. So because I can do it all in the morning. So it's a way of, doesn't work for everybody, but for me, that was a way of getting the best of both worlds, because I'd get all the bits I need to do done, and I wasn't sat on the island or whatever on a kitchen table till 10 o'clock at night, you know, and I could watch a film with the missus or do whatever, you know, take the dog out on a summer's evening or whatever. Again, do the things that you want to do. So you're kind of creating the time for yourself by, I know I don't need to do it this evening, because I'm going to do it first thing in the morning when I get up, when my alarm goes. As of 6 o'clock, I'll be on my laptop replying to emails. I'll be doing my bits that I need to do to prep ready for that day or for the week after, or whatever it may be. So yeah, definitely just being honest.
Perfect. Well, Cal, thank you very much for your time this evening. So I don't want to steal you away from your lady wife any longer than we have to. And
I'd rather you kept talking. Just another 20 minutes and it'll be better.
Oh, we both know as we help to pay for that later. So all good stuff. Right, mate. Thank you very much.
Right. Good
Thanks for watching. Mate. What was your takeaway from today's interview? Please post it in the comments below and subscribe for all our upcoming videos, or click for the next video here.